Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to explore some truly profound Islamic teachings on communication, mindfulness, and the incredible, and honestly sometimes terrifying, power of our speech. Specifically, we are looking at the destructive nature of backbiting. So if you're looking to understand the ethical boundaries of what we say, how we say it, and how to really master the art of disciplined communication, well, you are in exactly the right place.
So think about this for a second. What is literally the most dangerous weapon you possess? You know, when we look at serene, illuminated mosques at night or we listen to the peaceful recitation of the Quran, it's so easy to just focus on the tranquility of the faith. But Islamic tradition warns of this hidden, highly destructive weapon that every single one of us carries around all day, every day.
Okay, let's dive into this. According to the tradition, that weapon is your tongue. I know it's small, right? But the sources we're looking at today make it crystal clear. Without spiritual discipline, the tongue acts like a sharp blade. It literally has the power to sever relationships, absolutely destroy a person's honor and dignity, and even wipe out an entire spiritual legacy in just a matter of seconds. Ultimately, the first person we destroy with our tongue is ourselves.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, the weapon in our mouths. Second, defining Ghibah and slander. Third, the chilling Quranic metaphor. Fourth, the thief of good deeds. And finally, cultivating a golden tongue.
Section 1. The weapon in our mouths, speech, and intellect. The tongue is essentially the translator for your heart and your mind, and this is exactly where strict accountability begins. Islamic theology actually posits that angels are constantly appointed to watch over us. We see this in chapter 50, verse 18 of the Quran. And what this means is that every single word we just drop into a casual conversation is a matter of eternal record. Nothing just evaporates into thin air. It's all written down. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how Islamic scholars categorize the lesions of the tongue. It shows that harmful speech goes way, way beyond just simple gossip. We're talking about speaking about Allah without knowledge, which is a form of shirk. It covers slander, lying, perjury, defaming character, insulting, cursing. It even includes making up completely false jokes just for cheap laughs from a crowd.
Moving on to Section 2, defining Ghibah and slander.
So, distinguishing these concepts is absolutely crucial in Islamic ethics, pointing out the stark visual separation here. On the right, we have buhtan, or slander, which is saying something totally false. But on the left, we have Ghibah, backbiting. The Prophet Muhammad defined this as saying something about a person in their absence that they would dislike. And here's the kicker. Even if the information is entirely true, Ghibah violates a person's unseen presence. It's basically a cowardly attack because you're striking someone when they aren't even there to defend themselves.
Section 3. The chilling Quranic metaphor, visceral imagery.
I do have to warn you, the Quran doesn't just rely on abstract legal rules here. It uses highly visceral, almost shocking imagery to just shake us out of this complacency of, harmless venting. Surah Al-Hujurat asks a rhetorical question. Would any of you like to eat the flesh of his dead brother? You would detest it. And this brilliantly illustrates how backbiting is compared to a predatory, cannibalistic act upon a defenseless corpse. It taps into a massive, universal human taboo. It's meant to make the very thought of gossip nauseating.
And the metaphysical consequences detailed in the Hadith literature are equally severe. During the night journey, the Prophet actually observed people scratching their own faces and chests with copper nails as a punishment for impugning others' honor. The sources also mention that the foul stench of backbiting acts as this sort of spiritual pollutant that drives away angels of mercy.
Actually, this danger is so profound that our own bodies are said to fear it. According to a really famous hadith, when we wake up in the morning, all of our limbs humble themselves before the tongue. They essentially plead with it, saying that their fate depends on the tongue's restraint. If the tongue goes astray, the whole body goes astray.
All right, Section 4. The thief of good deeds, metaphysical economics.
Let's move to the next point and see how this builds into the macroscopic view of backbiting. On the Day of Judgment, there is this fascinating metaphysical economics at play. Step 1, a backbiter might show up with mountains of good deeds, prayers, fasting, the whole shebang, but those are transferred directly to their victim as compensation. Step 2, the backbiter's account of good deeds runs completely dry. And step 3, if the good deeds run out, the sins of the victim are then dumped onto the backbiter. You're literally handing over your hard-earned spiritual rewards to the person you gossiped about. No way you want that, right?
Section 5. Cultivating a golden tongue, mastering speech.
So how do we master this? How do we cultivate a pure heart? Well, the ultimate remedy is found in this famous prophetic counsel from Sahih Muslim. It says, if you believe in Allah and the hereafter, you should speak good or just keep quiet. The true strength of a believer is found in the restraint of the tongue, not in wagging it. It is the ultimate discipline.
So the crucial point is that mindful speech extends directly into how we interact with others. In that very same hadith, there's a famous instruction to act kindly towards women, using the analogy of a rib. This acts as a beautiful, broader metaphor for just respecting the inherent, unique, and sometimes fragile nature of others. We have to accept them as they are, rather than forcefully trying to change them.
Think about a rib in the human body. It's naturally crooked, right? Well, that is its perfect state for doing its job of protecting the vital organs inside. If you try to straighten it, you'll break it. Islamic sources explain that this is a powerful reminder to be gentle, like you're handling glass vessels. It shows that true ethical communication requires deep empathy and protective care for one another. Okay, let's quickly summarize the actionable takeaways here. First, speak good or remain completely silent. Second, don't just passively listen to gossip. Actively defend the honor of others. The texts actually promise that whoever defends a brother's honor will have their own face protected from the fire. Third, avoid making up false stories for cheap laughs. And finally, look, we're all human. If you slip up and backbite, just apologize and seek forgiveness. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Are your words a ferry of salvation and healing, or a poisoned weapon of mass destruction? I really encourage you to reflect on your daily conversations this week. Every single word you use is a choice that echoes into eternity. Sometimes, the most powerful and spiritual thing you can possibly say is absolutely nothing at all. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.